The Pacific salmon. Many of us have watched dramatic footage of large salmon swimming and leaping heroically upstream to spawn. But did you know that for many of these fish, that leap could well be their last? And not just because a bear got to them. Upon mating, the Pacific salmon undergo extreme activation of stress hormones that age them at an incredible rate and ultimately result in their death. So what can we learn from these short-lived animals? Well, for starters, stress is a killer. But how exactly does it work? We've come a long way from the fight or flight definition of stress. 100 years of scientific research has shown us that the stress response is not only highly complicated, but may also be the key to understanding many of our modern ailments, including diabetes, cardiovascular disease, autoimmune diseases, and even cancer. Stress can both protect us and damage our bodies and minds. An acute response helps us run away from danger, while chronic psychological stress leads to disease, aging, and ultimately death. The skin is a unique organ in that it interfaces between our mind, our body, and the external world. Think of how your feelings are written all over your face. If we're embarrassed, we blush, an involuntary signal revealing our mind's secrets. If we're mad, we flush. And if we're quick-tempered, we're called hot-blooded. If someone jumps out and scares us, the blood vessels in our skin constrict and we go pale with fright. These are some of the emotional signals everyone can see, but there's a lot more going on beneath the surface of the skin. In the skin, all the systems of the body, including the nervous, endocrine, and immune systems, are constantly talking to one another. Being the largest organ in the body, all these systems play a major role in skin development, function, and equilibrium. Thinner than saran wrap, the skin can withstand an incredible amount of abuse. From environmental insults like infectious and toxic agents, to allergens and damaging UV rays, to physical damage like tears, bruises, and cuts, the skin can handle all sorts of stressor in a most efficient way. Likewise, the skin is especially responsive to psychological stressors. But before we see how psychological stress triggers or worsens diseases like eczema, psoriasis, acne, and rosacea, we must take a look at the stress response in the body. The stress signals begin in the brain in a region called the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus sends signals to the pituitary gland, which sits at the base of the brain. This initial signal is called corticotropin-releasing hormone, or CRH. The pituitary then sends another signal called adrenocorticotropic hormone, or ACTH, into the bloodstream. These signals travel down to the adrenal glands, which sit atop the kidneys. The adrenal cortex releases cortisol, a major stress hormone. Simultaneously, nerve signals from the brain activate the release of epinephrine and norepinephrine from the adrenal medulla. Together, these stress hormones travel all over the body via the circulation to put us in a state of hyper-alertness, where we are equipped to fight or flight. This is the body's way of handling stress. New scientific research suggests that the skin has its own stress response system, similar to the central nervous system one that we just saw, and that this coordinates with the brain to maintain balance between the external world and any internal turmoil we may suffer. In fact, when psychological stress initiates a cascade of inflammatory events in the skin, it is called neurogenic inflammation. And this can have lasting effects on the skin if not controlled. If the skin has all the necessary components to trigger the inflammatory response within the skin, it's no surprise that inflammation plays such a key role in many skin diseases. Inflammation triggers or worsens conditions such as eczema, psoriasis, acne, rosacea, and can even lead to premature aging. Stress is like fuel to a fire when it comes to inflammation, and chronic stress means chronic inflammation. Imagine what chronic inflammation does to these conditions. Stress also delays barrier recovery, meaning our cuts and scrapes take longer to heal. It's no wonder that the skin can't clear up and heal when we are under stress. Stress can dehydrate skin, contributing to an impaired barrier. Without a properly functioning barrier, our skin is more vulnerable to irritation and infection from chemicals, allergens, pollution, UV, and even otherwise harmless substances like ingredients in skincare products. This is especially important in those with dry skin conditions such as eczema, where stress fuels inflammation and dehydration, resulting in eczema flares. And if you have an itchy skin condition like eczema or psoriasis, psychological stress can induce histamine release in the skin, making skin even itchier and worsening inflammation. For those with rosacea, there's another factor in stress-related flare-ups. Stress can reduce the function of our skin's natural antimicrobial peptides, which may already be deficient in rosacea skin. In other words, stress increases inflammation and dampens the skin's ability to fight off infections by mites or bacteria, which can result in a flare-up. Finally, stress can make you hypersensitive. A normal allergic response will be heightened, making you especially sensitive to external allergens and irritants. Now think of your acne client. Getting stressed not only increases inflammation, lowers immunity, dries skin, and blocks proper healing, it can even increase oil production. Cortisol boosts oil production, leading to blocked pores and a resulting breakout. Even worse, the breakouts take longer to heal and may crop up over and over again unless the psychological stressor is removed. So it's clear that chronic stress can be a serious impediment to healthy skin. Scientists believe that it's not so much an elevated level of stress hormones in the body, but that the organs, like the skin, become tired of responding to the signals that end inflammation. This resistance allows inflammatory signals to run rampant throughout the body, causing widespread damage. This may also explain how we often catch a cold or get a zit when we're stressed out. And pimples or hives stresses us out even more, forming a vicious cycle that's very difficult to break. As a consequence of all these complicated interactions in skin, a new specialty has emerged that explores the brain-skin connection, integrating the fields of immunology, skin biology, and endocrinology. In fact, some medical doctors specializing in both psychiatry and dermatology work in the relatively new field of psychodermatology to manage skin disease from the inside and out. They may prescribe anti-anxiety medications to help control the mind while allowing the skin to heal at a normal rate. They may also employ psychotherapy, hypnosis, and other cognitive behavioral methods. However, most people don't resort to these measures unless their condition requires medical attention. As a skincare therapist, you have a unique view of the skin, in that you are probably the only professional that can offer a skin treatment alongside a relaxing massage. This is great news for all inflammatory skin conditions and anyone that is experiencing psychological stress. And let's face it, we live in a world that constantly stresses us out. From the economy to family or work relationships to sitting in traffic, we are all internalizing more stress than ever. Luckily, there are many ways to manage stress, and there is good scientific data backing some of these. You might even recall a time when a skin treatment felt more like a therapy session. Starting a conversation can reveal a lot. You may find that your client is stressed, and most importantly, why. They must identify the inner issue triggering their skin problems. You can use this information to prescribe the right products, do the right treatments, and even suggest some lifestyle changes that will clear up their skin in no time. Science is beginning to uncover the ways in which ancient therapies exert their beneficial effects. Acupuncture originated in ancient China and has traditionally been used as a way to balance energy, or qi, and alleviate countless ailments. New research on animals shows that acupuncture can reduce a neuropeptide typically elevated during chronic stress, giving some insight as to the sense of well-being that many people receive from this ancient therapy. Clinical aromatherapy uses essential oils for therapeutic purposes that encompass mind and body. Essential oils are delivered via inhalation, where the oils travel directly through the olfactory bulb to the brain, or topically with or without massage, where oils are rapidly absorbed through the skin into the bloodstream within 10 to 30 minutes. Oils of chamomile, lavender, ylang-ylang, and geranium can be helpful in reducing anxiety and stress, whereas other scents can energize an overly exhausted client. And if you use aromatherapy in your treatments, you may have already conditioned the mind to relax once exposed to a particular scent. So sending home a client with the same essential oil will allow them to relax at home by associating the scent to relaxation. The act of breathing deeply, known as diaphragmatic breathing, can also reduce cortisol levels in the body and reduce anxiety in children and adults. New studies suggest that it can even fight free radicals and oxidative stress by reducing cortisol and increasing the powerful antioxidant melatonin. This is practiced on its own or during yoga and meditation. Taking a deep breath near trees can have an extra stress-reducing bonus because trees release phytoncides, chemicals that also reduce stress hormones in our bodies. Perhaps the most studied anti-stress technique is massage. We all feel great after a massage, but science is still trying to understand exactly how it affects our biology. There are many reports stating its effects on lowering cortisol levels, stimulating the immune system, improving sleep quality, alleviating symptoms of depression and anxiety, and of course relieving physical pain and muscle soreness. Massage itself comes in different styles, from soothing and gentle to corrective and intense. Certain types are especially beneficial to skin, such as lymphatic drainage, which can help hydrate and improve circulation and oxygenation to the skin. Another type, foot reflexology, not only aids in blood and limb circulation, but also relieves fatigue and promotes sleep, our body's best weapon against stress and inflammation. Massage therapy can be highly beneficial for babies. Before a fetus can see, smell, or taste, it can sense touch. Massage therapy can stimulate weight gain in preterm infants, and in newborns can improve visual development and influence brain development. Most importantly, it can even change the way a baby's genes respond to future stress. Evidently, we need to be touched from a very early age, but we often take gestures like a pat on the back or a gentle caress for granted. The science of touch has shown us that these everyday gestures are more profound than we ever thought. Touch is a universal language of compassion, making it a fundamental facet of human communication, connection, and health. Unfortunately, many of us lived in a touch-deprived society. The elderly, widowed, divorced, and friendless are even more likely to have anxiety and suffer from stress-related illnesses than those engaged in social circles. We know that touch activates our brain's region for reward and compassion, that it builds cooperative relationships and can stimulate the release of endorphins and other hormones. Yet scientists are still discovering new aspects of touch every day. For example, the pleasure we get from being touched gently depends on the density of a particular set of nerve fibers in the skin. So doing a facial treatment and gently applying creams can stimulate a subtle, positive, and possibly unconscious feeling of pleasure and reward. And this reward is twofold. Simply watching others being touched can also evoke positive feelings, a sign of empathy. The key to empathy lies within special brain cells called mirror neurons, which are activated as much by doing as by seeing someone else do. And if that's not rewarding enough, touch can also trigger the release of oxytocin, a powerful bonding hormone, to instill feelings of trust, happiness, and generosity, a most welcome side effect when it comes to receiving tips for your service. Skincare professionals and massage therapists are two of the few remaining professions on Earth where practitioners can touch the skin of clients. You study the structure and function of the skin, actual skin diseases, and of course the myriad of potential therapies and treatments. But a lot of what makes you passionate about your work and makes you successful in your business is not simply technique. It is your energy and empathy. So in the words of Michelangelo, to touch can be to give life, and the less stress we have, the more life we have. We hope you have enjoyed our webisode. For more information on the brain-skin connection, log on to dermalinstitute.com. To receive a copy of the workbook, please complete the short survey on the link provided. Thank you and have a relaxing day.